All right, let's talk about something that's been gaining way too much traction, the so-called fat acceptance movement. At this point, it feels like every week there's a new identity popping up, another group demanding special recognition. And now we have people proudly identifying as fat like it's some kind of achievement. Not only do they refuse to better themselves, but they've turned their laziness and lack of self-control into a movement. Now, before anyone comes at me with the usual nonsense, no, this is not about shaming people for struggling with their weight. Some people genuinely have health issues, and that's a different story. But let's be real. Most people in this movement are not dealing with medical conditions. They're dealing with bad habits, poor diets, and a refusal to take accountability. Instead of fixing their lifestyles, they want the world to cater to them. Think about it. How did we get here? It used to be common sense that being overweight is unhealthy. It's bad for your heart, your joints, your energy levels, and overall well-being. But instead of acknowledging that, we've got this movement telling people to love their bodies, no matter how much damage they're doing to themselves. What happened to self-improvement? To setting goals, pushing yourself, and striving to be better? The fat acceptance crowd doesn't want to hear any of that. To them, even suggesting that weight loss might be a good idea is fatphobic. They want to silence doctors, trainers, and literally anyone who tells the truth. And let's be honest, this is just another identity they're trying to force into mainstream culture. It's almost like they're lining up for another letter in the alphabet gang. You know what I'm talking about? Because apparently, just being out of shape isn't enough. They want to turn it into a full-blown lifestyle, a cause worth fighting for. Fat people are now a marginalized group? Give me a break. Since when is eating too much and avoiding exercise an oppression struggle? They act like the world is out to get them just because airline seats aren't built like king-size beds. And let's talk about that. How many times have we seen these body positivity warriors complain about things that are just plain logic? Airplane seats should be bigger. Doctors should stop telling us to lose weight. Clothing brands need to be more inclusive. No? How about you just admit that actions have consequences? If you take up 2 seats, you should pay for 2 seats. If your lifestyle is making you sick, a doctor telling you to lose weight isn't discrimination, it's common sense. What's even worse is how they're trying to flip the narrative and claim that being overweight isn't even unhealthy. Healthy at every size is one of the biggest lies ever pushed onto society. You don't need a medical degree to know that obesity leads to heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, joint problems, and 100 other issues. But no, we're supposed to ignore the facts and just celebrate everyone's body. Imagine if we did this with smoking. Imagine if people started the smoker acceptance movement and demanded that lung disease be normalized. If they started calling doctors smoke-phobic for warning them about cancer, that would be ridiculous, right? Well, that's exactly what's happening with obesity. And let's not ignore the fact that a lot of this movement is just about attention-seeking. It's about demanding validation from society instead of working on themselves. That's why they constantly flood social media with fat pride hashtags, why they attack fitness influencers, and why they lose their minds every time a plus-size person talks about trying to lose weight. It's not about self-love. It's about forcing others to agree with their delusion. And the worst part? The media, corporations, and even some governments are playing along. They're pushing this propaganda to the point where people are actually afraid to say what used to be obvious. Being obese is unhealthy. This isn't just about people's weight. It's about the larger trend of celebrating mediocrity and rejecting self-improvement. Today, it's obesity. But what's next? Are we going to start normalizing other unhealthy behaviors? Should we start an insomnia acceptance movement and tell people that sleep deprivation is a valid lifestyle? Or maybe a junk food justice movement, where we declare that eating vegetables is oppressive. It's a slippery slope. So here's my message to the fat acceptance movement. If you're happy with your weight, fine. Live your life. But don't expect the rest of us to pretend that obesity is healthy, normal, or something to be proud of. And for the people who are struggling with weight but actually want to improve, don't listen to these people. They want you to stay stuck so they can feel better about themselves. At the end of the day, real empowerment comes from pushing yourself to be better, not from demanding that the world lower its standards to accommodate you. That's it for today. Take care and think for yourself.